This is Blender Challenge 14 Spy Gear, and I'm going to start creating my first model, and it's going to be some Spy Gear cufflinks with a USB. It's pretty typical kind of thing for spies, but we're going to do that anyhow. I'm going to delete the light in the camera. I'm even going to delete the cube and Shift A, mesh plane, edit mode by pressing Tab, RX90. I'm going to press 1 to look from the front, and SX, scale it to about the second grid unit. So I've got that. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece with it selected. I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to look from the top, and I'm going to come to about here, I think. That's 4 grid units there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these edges. I'm in 2 edge selection. I'm going to select those in Control B. I'm going to pull to make a bevel, and I'm going to roll my mouse up 1, 2, 3 times. I'm going to Shift Alt and click there to get that back area, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'll give a little bit of a bevel back there, and then go back into edit mode, press 3, face selection, select that. I'm going to press I to inset. I'm going to come in a little ways, like that. And I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull this in. Okay, so we have that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select that edge. I'm holding down Shift and Alt, and that edge. And I'm going to bevel that, Control B. And I'll just pull. I've got the same number of segments as I had back there, and that's fine. Selected, shade smooth, and I think I will also put on a bevel, just like this. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to choose for limit method. I'm going to choose angle, and that should help. And I may also put on weighted normal, and under normals, auto smooth, and that should help the shading. So I have one part of that right there. Now I'm going to take this piece, Shift D and duplicate it, pull it over, look from the side. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to rotate X 180 degrees. Alright, so I've got that. Look from the side again. This piece I want shorter, so I'm going to press Z, go into wireframe. I'm going to box select, including, I think, this part here that's on the inside. I'm just going to pull it up quite a bit, like that. So imagine that this piece would fit into there, but we'll do the USB inside. And to do the USB, I think what I'll do is in face selection, I'll select that face. I'm going to look from the side again, wireframe. I think I will now pull this back quite a ways. And then I'm going to take that, Shift D and duplicate it and pull it out. I'll go back into solid view. But it's still part of this object, so I want it separate. So I'm going to press P, separate, and just select selection. So now I have that piece there. And I'm going to take that now, and I'm going to extrude it back in. I'm going to select the whole thing. I want to pull it out more. I want it about there. Let's have a look at where it is. I may grab that face and pull it further back. We're not going to see into there very far at all. So I'm going to have that. Let's take this and this and just make sure it looks like it would go in. I think it does. I think it's good enough. And I won't have it in the model. I'll have it something like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is let's take just this piece, select just that piece, press the slash. Focus on that and select this front. We're going to press I to inset and come in. Just make sure that the vertices don't cross. I just want a small area. This will be like a piece of metal. And I think I will, you know, maybe let's back up. Let's grab that face and that face. Let's I to inset, pull in just a little. See, they crossed over there. Okay, they don't cross over there. Let's Control E, bridge edge loops, and get rid of that. And then come back up here and select all these edges. Really don't need to do the back. It's not going to be visible. Let's give this a small bevel. Control B, pull. I'll go back to 0, go 1, 2, 3. Do that. Okay, so that's going to be our USB right there. Let's press the slash and bring everything back. Okay. All right, let's make it look a little bit more like a USB. I'm going to look from the top, Shift A, mesh, not plane. Well, you could use a plane, I guess. I'll go into edit mode, I'll scale it down, G to grab, move it over. Look from the side and just pull it up. Look from the top. I'm going to make some holes. And I'll just get the approximate size I want. Make it a bit bigger. Okay, let's look from the side. Let's extrude this down. Extrude and push down all the way through. Like that. Okay. Let's take this piece and bevel the edges. Vertical edges. By selecting them like that. And Control B and pull. Just round them out. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's look from the top. And I think I want them a little bit more like this. Now my 3D cursor is still right in the middle, so I'm going to set the origin to the 3D cursor for this object. And now I can mirror like that. And I think that's going to be okay. One hole's going right through. All right. So I'm going to select the USB part. Choose Boolean. I'm going to drag it to the top. So on difference with the eyedropper, I'm going to select these. And I'm going to go ahead and press apply, and I can delete those. Now, it didn't work, did it? Okay, so we need to back up a little bit. Let's check this. Okay. Face orientation. You'll notice that I have some in red and some in blue. So let's fix that up. Select it in edit mode, Alt-N, recalculate outside. Do the same thing for these guys. Recalculate outside and this guy. Some of my polys were flipped. Let's also actually apply the mirror on these and go back to regular view. Okay, we should be okay now. So select the main body. I've still got this, and let's get rid of that. Let's choose those and apply. And now I can delete those, and I have holes going through. And I've got my bevel on there. That may look okay. We may bevel this by hand. In fact, we could have a look at that. If I went into edit mode and in edge selection, that's number 2, Shift Alt and click all the edges around this, but let's deselect that one. I could consider if I want to Control B, pull, maybe even just something like this. Let's see. I might like that effect. Okay, a little bit more I want to do. Select that, slash key, let's come over here, put one edge loop there, let it fall right in the middle. Same thing with that one. With that one selected, Shift Alt and click that one. Let's Control B, pull, but roll your mouse back to 0, so just a space like that. E and Alt S and pull. Pull it in so we get a little bit of a cut there. Slash key, bring it back. And that's my USB part. We could do some more stuff on this, I suppose. Let's look at 7 from the top and slash key. Let's have a look at this. Now let's think about this. Do I want to do something that comes down? I could. Now what I could do is I could press K for the knife tool. Come pretty much in the middle. Press C to straighten it right down to the edge. Space to stop. Now I now have a cut in there. I could, let's see. I've got that edge there now. Because of that, I might be able to dissolve those edges. No, I can't. All right, never mind. How's about what? How's about we select that and subdivide? Let's see, what do we subdivide twice? I really want to be in one vertex. So I get one vertex there. Let's see if I Control B. That's not what I want to do. I'm just thinking, maybe if I pull them up and I have just one space where it comes out. Let's see. All right. We could do something along that line. Okay, so let's let's select these vertices here, and we'll subdivide it again. So I have another point there. And I'll just bring that down. I select those two, and I'll subdivide again. So I have this. Now I could take this piece, pull it out. You know, we could just do something like that, you know, to make it look a little bit different. So I'm going to select all these edges here, along the just along the top. Okay. So Control B, pull. I want to roll my mouse to 0. I just want a small space there. And I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to pull it down in, and I'm looking at the end. I don't want it to go in too much. You see this here? Pull it up a little bit more. Oh, hold down Shift, pull it down. Okay, let's say I like that. Now I'm going to have to come in here and delete this face and this face. And then I'm going to press 2 for edge selection. I'm going to select that F and rebuild that face. Really didn't need to do that stuff at the back, and that's good enough for that. I'm just going to select this and have a look at this. I don't really need to select this back stuff. Just want to see if I was to do this. Do I get anything better? Switch this to arc. That's okay. It's probably all right. Let's bring everything back. It's not overly visible. Let's turn on the cavity shader. And you'll certainly see it. All right. Now, let's see if I just grab all these sharp edges here. See how nice a bevel looks on. I'm not sure bevel would be necessary, but it might improve the looks of that. Let's zoom in on one of these. Control B. Just have a number of segments. It rounds it out just a little bit. In fact, maybe more than that. Let's try doing that. Okay. All right. So far, so good. As for these ones here, I probably could select those edges and do a similar thing. Just Control B. You know, just make it look a little, it'll catch more light and look a little bit nicer. Save your work. Let's select that. Let's I to inset, pull it in, move it to the front. Let's scale this in the Y. And I do want it near the front. Scale it in the X. And then scale in general. Move it up a little bit. Let's try extruding this up. Let's turn off the cavity shader for now. Okay. Let's make sure that we are in arc for this. Let's take this face here, Shift D, pull it up, P to break it out, select it, scale it in the Y, so it overhangs. Let's extrude it up. Control R to put an edge loop, Control B, pull out like this. And I'm going to pull this down. Let's put on proportional editing, pull it down. I'm going to increase like this because I'm going to want to put a hole in this. I'm going to take these edges here. I'm going to pull them up a little bit. Something like that. Turn that off. Let's select these edges here. Control B, bevel them to round it a little bit more. No, it's not working very well, so let's just take that one and round it. So I get that. Now I'm going to select these edges here. Control B. And the top. Holding down Shift, making sure I get all of it. Control B. Nice bevel on the top. Cool. Let's press the slash key to just focus in on that. Now I'm going to select all of this stuff here. I think I'm just going to delete those faces. And I'm going to select this. I'm going to press E and Alt S. And I'll pull in to give it some thickness like that. Seems a little easier. Okay, now I'm going to, in edge selection, select those two edges all the way around. And we'll bevel this. Just watching, nothing overlaps. Okay, so I have that piece like that. Slash key to bring everything back. Look from the side. GZ, and bring that down. Something like that. Let's look from the front and scale this in the X so that it fits. Like that. Let's see. Let's try a bevel on here. Okay, just to make it look a little nicer. And now I will, I think I will select maybe this middle edge there. Shift S, bring my 3D cursor there so I can bring in a cylinder. Rotate Y90, scale it. Scale it in the X. Let's scale Shift X, not in the X, and bring it down so I can make a hole there, you know, decent size so it's visible, at least. Before we go any further, let's check our face orientation. You can see that this is red. That means the polys are flipped, so select it all, Alt-N, recalculate outside. We can come back to here. Okay. So I'm going to select this now. Boolean, drag it to the top, its difference. With the eyedropper, select my cylinder. Go ahead and apply that. I'm going to delete the cylinder. And I now have a hole. And if I really want to, I can try to bevel this edge. Although I'm going to get a lot of other edges in there. And probably get every single one, eh? That's ugly. You know, I'll show you anyhow. And then I'm just hold down Shift and deselect all these. You have to just make sure you got everything selected. I'll just do it on this one side for now, and we'll see if it looks any good. And it may not because of the way I did the Boolean. Let's Control B. Just pushing those out of the way. It's probably fine. Okay, so that's my first piece. I could put in one more thing if I wanted to make this a little bit more realistic. Slash key on that. Let's see if I can just use, no, well, I could use that piece. Shift D, pull it up, P to break it out, so I have that. Oops, where'd it go? Let's look from here. I'm just going to scale this out a bit more and push it down. Let's take this and extrude it back like this to near the end. Let's make sure all my polys are flipped the right way. And then I could take maybe these edges here. Just round them so that it fits a bit better. Where did I get that one? And maybe this front. You know, there's like a piece in there. Let's just scale this into Z. That'll change the curvature a bit. As long as it doesn't come out the side. And maybe we'll move it back just, oh no, not that way. Back just a little bit. Okay, bring everything back. You know, that piece there. I just want to make sure. Yeah. That piece is in there too. Okay, so those are my SPY USB cufflinks. And we'll move on to another item next time.